Syl, I'm just going to introduce you, uh, but I think you should introduce yourself in a detailed fashion. Um, got got you on. Many of us know you very well, but not well enough. And I think Daryl probably knows you the best because you spent a lot of time working with him and his daughter and many elite athletes. Um, and your background in the writing of the book precipitated motivating me to get you on this call and really promote that book. But so would you tell us a bit about yourself, your background? I'm curious, growing up, where were you? How did you get involved athletically to reach the point where you maintained your fitness and athleticism and got into sports to the degree that you do, from an athlete to a developer and a mentor? Go ahead, Syl.
Okay, well, thanks very much for the invitation, Wally. I appreciate it, and it's nice to meet you all. I guess different to all of you, I did not grow up playing hockey, but probably every other sport imaginable, but running was always kind of my mainstay. So I studied exercise physiology, actually. So Peter, I was at Concordia, and then I went from exercise science to a master's in exercise physiology at Arizona. And then I went on. I did another doctorate in California in chiropractic. And then lastly, my second doctorate was at University of Calgary in neuroscience. And specifically, I looked at the effects of exercise on the brain. So I've always been an elite athlete. I ran for Canada, both, on the mountain running team and also in triathlon. So I've raced at the World Cup in numerous sports, so triathlon, duathlon, and running. So yeah, very, very interesting how I ended up so involved in hockey. My background was in elite athletics. It always has been. I still, train very hard. And so I just started basically delving into human performance. It's obviously a passion of mine. And I found hockey to be actually one of the most incredible sports in terms of how all-encompassing it was. I've always worked with, like higher end athletes, and I guess just sort of word got out a little bit, and ended up working with one of the players at Calgary Flames, and it just kind of went from there. Sorry, I ran hard this morning. I'm gonna have to get a shot of water. Just word of mouth, I guess. I started working more and more in hockey and, study the game, study the movement aspect of it, studied obviously the neurophysiology of different things like reaction time, balance, optimum training for hockey. And then I worked, as many of you know, with my best friend for a number of years, Haley. So, we grinded it out day after day, hours a day, just to keep her strong and fit and recovering from injury. So yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. I've worked with a number of other players, like in say Tampa Bay, New York Islanders, various teams like that. And also different sports, like very diverse, I think, which has helped me in terms of giving an overall picture of high performance. So I've worked with half-pipe skiers, other professional triathletes, speed skating, cycling, all at the Olympic or professional level. So, but, I do have a very high appreciation for hockey, and just because of what it involves. So yeah, I wouldn't say I'm as much of a rink rat as you, Wally, or Daryl, but I certainly spend a lot of time at the rink. So yeah, and I guess it was about a year and a half ago when this whole pandemic started. My background being in neurophysiology and mental health and whatnot, like the overall pervasive mood was one of like a general funk. And I've had to deal with mental health issues for my athletes. Performing at a very high level, there's certainly, huge demands, not like everybody else, but they're just in the spotlight. So during the pandemic, many of my athletes were really, really struggling. And I thought, well, what can I do about it? I can help one-on-one, but I think the best approach might be to write about it, and I could help that many more people. And I think it extended beyond the athletes. It was more even for, anyone I was coming across. I thought, geez, like I have such an appreciation for life and what we can do and being our best version of ourselves. Why don't I write about it and explain the science of, why we should actually really recognize how magnificent we are. And so that's how Defunct came alive. I just said, okay, now's the time to start writing about it. And I think from my perspective, it's unique. Thanks, Wally. Only because, it's, yes, I have an opinion, but it's really entrenched in science. I think that's the way I approach even training myself. And I think I've had to, I've actually made a lot of strides just knowing the science and being able to implement it. So hopefully, and I'm a cartoonist as well, so I try to make the science less intimidating by putting the cartoons in there. So give it some levity, and yeah, so far it's been, well accepted. So I appreciate the recommendation there, Wally. So hopefully that gives you a quick synopsis of my story. I ran really hard this morning.